Well, that has to be said. Is I don't think that we're in the position that we would like to be in. I don't think that we are. I don't think that we're. Let's compare and contrast this pre-season to last pre-season before we talk about the game. Last pre-season, one-touch football. I know it's the first game back for a lot of the first-team players, but we seem to have gone backwards. Let's compare and contrast last season's pre-season. Just the pre-season. The pre-season last year, Celtic were playing fast attacking, one-touch pass football. It was the way that we went into the season. This season we seem to be lost. Whether Brendan Rodgers is testing out to see how good the younger players are. There seems to be a bit of a formation change in the first half. We started off a 4-3-3. It looks like we're going to go to a diamond in midfield, which will allow one of the attacking midfield players to then go up front. So then we basically go into a 4-4-2 formation. Players in the second half, there's a few players that should have left Celtic by now. Let's be honest. Fantastic squad players, but they'll never be first team starters. Yang's one of them. Coming inside far too much. I've got to say, Inamura, for all the good that he's doing, there's something just maybe he's inexperience. Inamura's inexperience coming into it. I'm trying to come into the left hand side, and then you've got Arne Engels telling him, no, get further out, get out to the wing. You're coming in too far. He's telling him to go out. You've then got Inamura coming back in, and he's telling Yang to stay on the outside, and you're like, who's in charge of the team here? There seems to be, and when Callum McGregor goes off, anyone that says that Callum McGregor's past it, when Callum McGregor goes off, the flow of this team's knackered. The flow, and I know it's only pre-season, and I'm not going to get overly concerned, because these are the games that you iron all this stuff out. But it was fucking rank rotten. Let's be honest. We're not at the standard. You compare seasons on seasons, and Brendan Rodgers always says you want to get better, small increment improvements. I'm not seeing that at all yet. You give him a buy. I gave him a buy the first two. It's a fitness test. Calm down, ladies. Sack the board. Brendan out. Ida cost too much. KT past it. Yang's worth 300 million. Brown Warriors going for it. It was a poor game. No, I will compare to last pre-season. Go and watch. Do you know what we'll do during the week? We'll all watch. We'll do our live together, right? And we'll watch the pre-season games from last season, and then you'll see exactly how far back we've went. Because last pre-season, it was fast attacking football, one touch pass. Do you know? It's been an interesting pre-season as far as Brendan Rodgers is concerned. But it is a typical pre-season game. I'll not look into it much more than that, I think. But I think I will sit during the week, and I will do a live, and I might do a live one night where we watch back one of the games for last pre-season. Last season we were buzzing. We beat Man City and Chelsea, etc. We played a fast attacking football. That was at the same stage of pre-season this year. So we're now going to the next game playing the Portuguese champions. We're then going to the game after that playing the game against Newcastle. We are not at the speed, we're not at the pace, we're not at the level that we were at last season when we beat Manchester City. You already said Man City played the younger team, but we're not at the level where we were last season. And that's all we can do as fans. We can just compare to where just going backwards under Brendan Rodgers. Time for him to go. There's the first one of the season. There was too many back passes and too slow. I thought McArdle was good when he come on, but his youth and his inexperience shone through at times. His positioning, he's meant to be playing the holding position, and I thought it was weird bringing one of the younger players on to play that holding midfield role. It tells us one thing, and well, it tells us a lot of things. Brendan Rodgers will be spending the cash, and if he doesn't, we're all fucked. We're smiling in the pre-match. Live people were talking about winning 5 or 6-0. This is no Cork, it says Irishman in Porto. Yeah, they weren't, and I said it would maybe be 3 max. I thought with the lineup that Celtic had, I think we expected better from Celtic. No matter the opposition, we weren't at the standard that we would be at normally. And, you know, there's a lot of players that will... This is what pre-season's all for, isn't it? It's about giving players the opportunity to shine and seeing what level they really are at. And are they at the level where Brendan Rodgers can rely on them when it comes to a cup game against Falkirk? And he'll use that as the benchmark from last season. You see, I used squad players in the Premier Sports Cup game against Falkirk last season, and they were woeful. So I'm giving them a chance this pre-season to see if they're any better than what they were at that stage. I want to give the players the opportunity to prove to me that when it comes to a cup run, I can trust these players to get us to the cup final and win the Premier Sports Cup final. That's the reality of the situation. But Brendan Rodgers is sitting at the side of the pitch, and he's seeing what we are seeing on the telly. And I'm just glad that there was no Celtic fans there, because I can only imagine the abuse that would start giving them. By all means, look at the games, but also look at the teams we put out. Can't compare. You're talking about managed decline. At the time, you can see it. You can see who's been on the park, sadly. Yeah. I don't like... Is it... Stevie, are we going in... Look, when you look at the transfer window, it is a period of managed decline, isn't it? It's bringing players at 1-2 million, sell players for more. I mean, we're sitting with over 20 million in the bank already just from this season's transfers. Are we going to go out and spend 20, 30, 40 million between now and the end of the pre-season? Not a chance. Not a chance. It looks like Celtic are going to go in with not spending any money from the bank. Any money that's sitting into the bank. This is what it looks like. To be fair, they had a lucky win against the worst team in the League of Ireland, Cork City. I don't think results... I don't really look at the results in games like this, Paul. I look more at what the teams are actually achieving during games. And whilst Dane Murray looks a bit of a player, Dane Murray is one that will definitely be in contention for being in and around the squad next season. Young McArdle's done himself no harm whatsoever. There was players that were in the first team. I mean, we've brought in Amura, and he had a good game the other day, but I mean, we've went up one little level with this game today. Well, it's quite a big level, really, isn't it? And I just don't think he knows what position he was meant to be playing in. Whether he's coming inside too much. He's not sticking to the byline enough, and it just seemed to me that it was like two different Celtic teams playing in the two halves, but they were playing two different systems. The first half, you've got Kieran Tierney, who sticks out by the byline and does what Kieran Tierney's done throughout his entire career. Played that position the way that he's played it his entire career. You then have someone like Inamura coming on, who's a very poor man's Greg Taylor, and I never thought I would say that. But anyway, it was an interesting game, and it was a kickabout, and it was the land of Celtic's Twitter has just went into absolute meltdown. Some of the comments. You got a lot of Rangers fans jumping on it, obviously, embarrassing. But Poor result, early days. It's all about fitness. Do you know one player that I thought, how has he got so unfit? Was Liam Scales. His Scales just went on holiday and went, I'm fucking not doing any training. He was blown at his arse. I thought, I mean, you seen Celtic speaking to Luke McCowan last week, and Luke McCowan talking about that each player's got their own specific training schedule that they do during the summer recess, the 4 weeks that they've got off. Liam Scales looks as if he's just went, fuck it, I'm not doing anything. I know my place in the team's safe. He was blown at his ass completely. Lack of signings, Baz, comes down to Brendan's contract being up in the summer. I don't want that to... Do we really think that that's the situation? I don't think it is. I think that Celtic are still working away in the background to get the type of player it is. But the longer that this continues, and remember, we brought in Luke McCowan last minute in the transfer window last year. We brought in Arne Engels last minute in the transfer window. Do you know, there's a lot of way for Celtic to go yet. There's a lot of way for Celtic to go. So, do you know... oh man, I need to just double check something that I didn't do before I came on. Nope. Because it looks like it could be interesting. Not bad for a couple of hours work. Let me just do this. Click on this, customization. Yeah, it is. Right, just double checking something. Anyway, back into it. The comments on the Celtic Twitter is just. There's more Rangers fans than anything, isn't it? There's one Celtic fan saying, dreadful, this stage of the season. We should be integrating new first 11 signings. Well, we didn't last season. Let's put it into perspective. Here come the comments, are hilarious. It's pre-season, yeah. It's about the most sensible one. The most sensible, yeah, the comments. Defensively, miles off it. Quality need reinforcements. Kind of worried about the Champions League qualifier. The Champions League qualifier isn't until the middle of August. So we've got a long time. We do have a long time. Am I overly worried? No, because it was a bad game. It was a bad game. There's players that will not be anywhere near Celtic when it comes to the beginning of the season. You remember, it is only the first team players are just getting their feet back on the pitch. Kieran Tierney getting back on, finding his feet, playing with a makeshift defence, has to be said. Liam Scales coming on in the second half. Liam Scales looked reluctant to pass the ball out to Inamura. He thought that either Inamura was too far in or he was too far out and too far backwards. I think he was looking for Inamura to be a bit further forward. Callum McGregor just does what Callum McGregor does. Sean McArdle coming on for Callum McGregor in the second half. An interesting move by Brendan, showing you where McArdle is, and I think that if he's not going to be in and around the first team, he'll be loaned out to someone to give him some fantastic experience. Fitness-wise, it was all... Anthony Flynn says, if we don't beat Aberdeen and Hearts before going to Ibrox, we'll be in trouble playing catch-up, can't bear it. But we're 3 weeks before the season starts. I'm not going to be overly concerned about the fact that it's a pre-season game. It's a pre-season friendly behind closed doors. Normally, these type of games are never on Celtic TV. So, you know, it's only the modern era and the fact that Celtic are trying to milk it, getting more and more people to pay for Celtic television, that Celtic are showing these games. Normally, a game behind closed doors, you would get the result and that was it. You know, you would get the result on a piece written on there's no media there. There's no external media. So, Callum McGregor cannot defend and his passing is too square and too negative. Do you not think that we were worse after Callum McGregor? It's pre-season, sure, but we're needing freshness. Rodgers put it out as so. We've since sold handful of signings. The rest of the squad still needs signings. You've still got Cameron Carter-Vickers to come back. Do you know what I mean? So I think what we did see today was little glimpses of formation changes, and I said that was one thing that we should look out for. As the pre-season goes, it's poor. It is poor when you can compare and contrast to last season. Yeah, I'll give you that. I mean, I said that right at the beginning. Forrest looked as if he's been playing for about 3 weeks. Physical centre half, centre midfield, were easily bullied in games. What did you think about the change in the formation? Let's talk about the positives that Brendan did. He made the first half, we made a little bit of change in formation where we go to a diamond in midfield. Going to a diamond in midfield then allows Rio Hatate to double up as a second striker, which is an interesting move because it gets away from the 4-3-3. Is this something that Brendan Rodgers will use more in Scottish football next season, due to the fact that you get a lot of teams that will go to a flat back 5 against us in Scotland, and having that ability to have someone else in the box is something that we've never really done before. Although you did get, you had strikers, you had midfielders that would come in and be in and around the box. Having that second midfielder come up as almost a second striker, it is an interesting concept that Brendan Rodgers is going with. Can the team pull it off over the course of the season? Can the team get better at that formation change? But then it completely changed again in the second half. That system that we were playing just totally disintegrated because players, for me, far too many of the players were playing out of position. And let's face it, Yang's not the answer. I mean, let's get the team back up. When you look at the team in the first half, right? Marco Tilio, way off it. Got some fancy footwork. Can he put a ball in? Nah, he's not. Marco Tilio, for all that people say that he's an improved player, he's not. Young Osmond, the jury's still out on him. Dice Maida needs to get up to pace. Some fantastic stuff. Rio Hatate comes in at the back of the box, scores a fantastic strike. Luke McCown was all over the place, just doing what Luke does. We know the standard of Luke, and he's a fantastic squad player. McGregor did what McGregor did. Tierney was just finding his feet with the team. First semi-competitive game, it's a friendly. With playing with players that are not going to be in the back line, it plays more as a solid back four. I thought if we go into the Champions League and we play the way that we did with that game, the second half, people are going to target the left-hand side because Yang was coming far too much into the middle. Inamura, you cannot play Inamura in the Champions League. There's nothing to dispute that. Inamura in the Champions League will be playing like a man down. I like the 4-4-1-1 diamond, the number 10 behind the striker. I thought it was interesting that we did put one of the midfielders up to play as that striker role, push him up a bit. I thought it was interesting. Our squad doesn't fill me with confidence. We're too light. Even Estrela looks fitter and stronger than us. Are they further down the line when it comes to fitness? I don't know. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. But whatever happens is Brendan Rodgers has now had a look at the majority of the B team players that he will. I think where you see the players that kind of stood out in the game that will get any chance is going to next season, B team wise, will be Dane Murray and young McArdle. Those are the two for me that are starting to stick out. I didn't see any the first couple of games. I mean, you could talk about Donovan and young McPherson. They're okay. They're maybe a season away from making that push. I think that Donovan and McPherson probably will go out on loan again. I think that they're okay. They're not fantastic against better sides. Their pace is going to let them down, and that's what Brendan will look at. Their pace just isn't there for the top level that we need. So I think going forward, you'll see a lot less of them playing. And especially the time you get back to the Newcastle game, it's just going to be first team stars. You might have McArdle, you might have Murray in the squad, but the rest of it is just going to be complete first team. Who'll have left by then? If Marco Tilio manages to see out the rest of the pre-season at Celtic, it'll be something else. But anyway, it's a hard slog pre-season, isn't it? It's one of those things that you can sit and analyse it for too long, or you can sit and analyse it for 5 minutes and go, do you know what, it was pre-season, you get on with it. It's now on to the next game. Murray's not good enough, Baz, says Del Scott. As a younger player coming through, I think he's good backup. He needs first team action. He's been playing in the B team too long. Dane Murray's now at a crossroads where he's too good for the B team and he's not quite there for the first team. Now, you can't, from what you've seen of him last season when he was up to speed, you've got to say he was better then. Pre-season game, you're not going to judge him on pre-season, because then you could say that half the team are absolutely friggin' garbage. The fact is Cameron Carter-Vickers was out. It's a big loss. Liam Scales. Have we seen Liam Scales get to the limit of where he can go? Is the game still going? If no, what's the score? No, the game's finished. We got beat 3-2. Champions League is brilliant for the money. The board won't spend and we won't make it. It'll be disappointing, but I'd fancy our chances in Europa, says Marco. I don't even want to think about that yet. I think that we've got enough time to get players in, and you started to see the second half. It started off well, the sort of one-touch passing there. The time that we get to the game on Wednesday night, I think is important, because if Brendan and the team, Brendan will need to put out the strongest team possible against Sporting, because that's a Champions League level game. That's the game that we should really start focusing on, and that's the game where we'll look at it and say, right, this is where the squad's at. And this is where you'll be able to really compare to last pre-season when we were brilliant against Newcastle, when we were brilliant against Manchester City. Chelsea, sorry, not Newcastle. By the time we get to Newcastle, you'll want to be hitting the levels that we were last year. 4 days, 6 hours and 14 minutes until that game. There may be a slight training. Will there be a training session this afternoon? It wouldn't surprise me, actually, if Brendan... we had that game today. Does he give the players a rest? Does he get them back out on the training pitch this afternoon just to analyse the game, or do they go over things? It's pre-season training, they will, won't they? I mean, that's what pre-season training's for. Or does he give them the afternoon off, since it's Saturday, and then they're back in with the double training sessions tomorrow? Well, if your Scales, just go out and get pissed and fucking... Oh my goodness, absolutely unbelievable. So Murray's not good, says Del Scott. I think that Summers is a standout. Baz, yeah, young Summers is there, but I don't think that he'll make the jump into the first team this season. It's concerning times for Brendan. He needs new players as soon as possible. We can all agree with that. It was interesting that Benji played more through the middle. I wasn't quite sure where he was going to play, whether it was going to be on the wings or more in the Matt O'Reilly type role. It looks like they're bringing Benji in to play that Matt O'Reilly role, which means if that's the case, well, we're still needing a couple of wingers in. Let's face it, we've still got Louis Palma to come back, who Louis Palma incidentally took to Instagram today, and he took to Instagram, and the translation in Spanish, he basically said, it's too hard to explain, it's too much work to explain. What was it? it was too much work to explain. Just watch me, or some pish. Anyway, you know what happens at pre-season when players start doing their stuff on social media? Brendan Rodgers doesn't like it. So Brendan Rodgers will be looking at that and going, yep, you're fucking one step closer to being out the door for good, son. If you don't make the Champions League, never mind about it. A new contract for Brendan Rodgers. He should be sacked straight away. Don't be at Leipzig and be a bad team. Wake up, people. That was last season, Stephen. That was last season. We've lost a few players since then. We've lost a few good players since then. We've lost Greg Taylor. We've lost Kyogo Furiashi. And we've lost Nico Kuhn. We've not replaced them. We've not replaced them. The squad isn't better as yet. As yet. We will say that. Benji doesn't deserve to have... Benji doesn't have the pace to play our level on the wings. How can you tell that from just that game, that pre-season? He could have been brought. He might have been brought in to play the position that was vacated. But then, what does it say for Paulo Bernardo? Don't know. There's a lot of game time still to be played, and I think that pre-season is going to be completely interesting. It's going to be one to watch. It was a terrible game to watch today, but it was all about testing out the younger players and see exactly what level they're at. Because let's face it, James Forrest, best player on the park first half. Absolutely best player on the park. When it comes to some of the younger players, it'll be interesting to see what Brendan Rodgers says on Celtic TV on YouTube later on. Colby Donovan, what was he thinking? That hand, putting the hand up. Does he think he's the hand of God? No, he'd given away that penalty. That's a bad error. Bad error. That's almost Liam Scales like. Ben McPherson, he done okay the first half. Other than that, it was a game of let's not write home about it. Anyway, that's me done and dusted for the day. If Bernardo's still on holiday, Paulo Bernardo is still on holiday, as is such other players. Anyway, that's me done and dusted for the day. Have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world. God, that was a hard watch, wasn't it?